Hello friends, myself Pratik. Welcome to this session on preconditions and postconditions. Let us start this session. In previous session, we have discussed how to use defensive programming to ensure that your function should execute its main code only if preconditions are satisfied. So we achieved this for our first precondition, that input grade should be greater than 0 and it should be less than or equal to 100 by writing a if condition in the beginning of function. Here we have mentioned our precondition and then we write not in front of that. It means if this precondition is not satisfied, then it should print this error message and return false. It will not execute its main code if this precondition is not satisfied. So in this session we are going to implement second precondition which state that grade should be of int type. So in order to ensure this, we have to check the type of input variable grade. So how we can check the type of a variable? In order to check the type of a variable, we have a function called as isInstance in Python, and we can make the use of this function. So let's suppose I have a variable number and I'm giving a value 34 to this, and I'm checking the type of this variable number. So for this we have a inbuilt function isInstance in Python, and in this we need to pass the name of the variable and then you can check its type. Here I am using function isInstance to check that whether this variable number is an instance of int or not, and this function always return true or false. So in this case number is of integer type, or this is an instance of int, so this is returning true. If you check this for float, it will return false because this is of integer type, and same way if you check this for str, it should also return false because number is of integer type. Let's make this number as string. So now number is a string type, and this time isInstance numbers str should return true because here I have write 34 in single quotes. It means that 34 is considered as a string, and now number is of str type. So you can see that this is returning true, and if you write here type as int, it will return false. I hope you got my point, that you can simply check the type of the variable by using isInstance function. You can use this isInstance function to enforce this precondition that function should run only if grade is of int type, and in order to ensure this you can use this isInstance function in if condition. So you can write another if condition here to enforce that the main function code should run only if grade is of int type. So take your time to write this if condition which should ensure that the main code should run if grade is of int type, otherwise it should display appropriate message and return false. You can pause the video at this point to write this if condition on your own. Okay, I hope that you have write this. So let's first write your preconditions. The precondition is isInstance. Here my variable name is grade. It should be of int type. This is my precondition, that grade should be of int type, and if this precondition is not satisfied, then it should return an error message and it should return false. So you can write here print grade should be of int type and it should return false. After this I am checking my second precondition, that grade should be greater than 0 and it should be less than 100. If this is not satisfied, it should return appropriate error message and return false. If both of these preconditions are satisfied, then only these group of statement will execute. Let us run this code to verify its output. Here my input is 95 in string. So let's see what is the output in this case. So you can see that it is working perfectly fine, and the message is grade should be of int type and it is returning false. Let's check this for 95 as integer. So it's working perfectly fine and it is returning exceed expectations because it will fall under this condition. Okay, let's check this code for input 95.8. Now I'm checking this for float. So let's see what will happen at this point. So you can see that it is displaying grade should be of int type and it is returning false. It means that my function is still not working for float. Can you extend this if condition? Because my precondition was grade should be of int type or float type. So we have already handled the case of int type. So at present it is only working for int. It is not working for float and it is not working for string. But I want that it should work for int as well as float. Please take your time to make changes in this if condition so that it should return false only if it is of not int or float. In simple words, both int and float should be allowed as an input. So take your time to solve this problem. So simply we can add here OR. So here you can see that I am adding two preconditions. So here my first precondition is grade should be of int type or grade should be of float type, and if these preconditions are not true, then it should display appropriate message and return false. So here I am using toIsInstance function by using OR operator. So I am checking that my grade should be of int type or grade should be of float type. If these preconditions are false, then I should return error message and my program should terminate by returning false. So let's check this for input 95.8. Now this is working fine. It's returning exceed expectations. So my program is now working for both int as well as float. But if you try to input string, it will throw appropriate message and it should return false. And it is also checking the case that if number is 0 or less than 0, it is also returning appropriate message that it should be greater than 0 or less than 100, and it is returning false. And if your number is more than 100, it is also displaying the same message. We have achieved our objective. Both the preconditions has been implemented. My main code will only execute if my preconditions are true. Otherwise, it will simply return appropriate message and return false, and terminate the execution by returning false. In next session, we will be discussing another alternative way to implement defensive programming. And in that session, we will be discussing assert statement. This is very important and easy method to enforce preconditions as compared to writing if statements. So we will be discussing alternative of if conditions to enforce preconditions in our next session, and the alternative will be assert statement. So please don't miss that session. Please watch next video session to learn more on asserts and defensive programming. All the code discussed in this video session is available in the description of this video. Thanks for watching this video. God bless you.